Hello, everybody. Hassan here, engineer, MBA, and investor. And in today's video, I want to talk about legacy media covering genome editing, covering genomics. What does it mean for the landscape? What can we expect from this? Is it good news, bad news? I want to talk all about this in this video. Now, before we do that, guys, please like this video, smash that like button, destroy that like button. It's quick, it's free, it's easy. If you haven't subscribed, guys, please subscribe, hit that subscription button, hit that notification bell for our videos to get to you faster. So, quick notes here. First of all, it was 4th of July yesterday, so happy Independence Day to all Americans out there. We have many Americans watching our videos. Thank you very much for support, guys. Although we are an international YouTube channel, we cover companies that are having impacts around the world. We appreciate all Americans, guys. We appreciate everyone around the world. Thank you very much for the support, guys. So, on this Monday here, I want to talk about legacy media covering genome editing, right? So, since last week, Antilia, the last weekend, not this weekend I just went through, but the weekend before, Antilia posted their first ever data for their human trials, NTLA 2001, for the in vivo approach. And that disrupted the whole field of genome editing. The whole company, Antilia stock price went all the way up, right? It jumped all the way up. We're talking like 60%, 50% the first day, then it started popping like 20% the next day. I mean, it's just like blew people's minds. So obviously people that are aware of this space, that have been aware of this space, that have been involved in this space, we sort of expected this, although I think a lot of us were shocked and held back by the idea that a company stock worth 5, 6, 7 billion dollars could be up 50% in a single day. I do believe a lot of us sort of expected this because, a lot of investors saw this data and they were like, wow, this is the next decades of biotech, right? So it's no surprise to many of us. But then you have companies and institutions like CNBC, legacy media institutions that are all over the story, right? And there's a reason why, right? We talked about this in previous videos in the past where legacy media incentives are not aligned with yours, right? Their goals is to attract eyeballs and have clickbait articles so that their traditional ads can pay them further, right? And you have these legacy autos paying huge fees and ads to these legacy media to basically push their ads onto us, onto the viewers, onto the audience. And so basically my point here is that their their incentives are not aligned with yours, right? However, I do want to admit that sometimes it could definitely help a space, especially in genome editing. I mean, their audience is huge, guys. They have over 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and they've been on YouTube, CNBC, for example. Not even like they have not been pushing their YouTube channel up until like 2 3 years ago. So imagine like in 2 3 years, their subscription count will go all the way up in the millions further than what they are right now. I think they're at like 1 point something million. So their audience is huge, right? And a lot of baby boomers watch their videos. Whether that's on YouTube, whether that's on linear TV. They have a huge audience, right? And not just CNBC, right? Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, all these legacy media institutions, they have a huge audience, guys. And for us, newer generations, we think, they'll go obsolete, but the reality is that they have a huge audience. And this started way longer than before the internet, right? Some of these institutions been existing way longer than when the internet came about. So it's no surprise that they have a huge audience. And when they covered these types of stories, I do want to admit that it's extremely bullish for the space in genome editing because you're getting new set of eyes all around the space. You're getting these boomers looking at these articles and being like, wow, we have companies out there that are treating potentially diseases, and that we know, although there's no FDA approved drug right now, we believe this could be a possibility in the upcoming years. Wow, this type of storyline, this type of line of thinking, that's what you want to have, right? Although our channel here, we are very small channel, very small community, and we're trying to spread that awareness, spread that information around the internet. The reality of the things is that the audience required to to have a significant disruption in this space, right, is much larger than what it is today, right? And we believe in a year time, in 2 years, the audience for genome editing, the audience for genomics just in general will definitely grow. I strongly believe that this is what we need, right? We need all institutions, including legacy media, to push this narrative, to push the storylines out there, to raise awareness of investors, and not just investors, but just the average citizen looking at this space, right? We want this message to be spread, and this is exactly the mission of this channel, right? It's to democratize information for free, so we can all have the level playing field here, the same levels of playing field. But and obviously, in this article here, for example, we're looking at the Antilia CEO John Leonard. He came on CNBC, started talking about the major advances in genome editing space, and then they went on to describe a little bit about what CRISPR is, and then they started talking about the stock price. Obviously, rise over 100% in June, 90% in the past week alone, and they even put a video that they interviewed Jennifer Doudna, the legendary Jennifer Doudna, at the end of this video, which I highly recommend you guys to watch. Now, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. This is like a double-edged sword, right? This is like a double-edged sword. What does this mean, right? It means that although we are doing a favor by covering these technologies, this company, Antilia, CRISPR Therapeutics, Beam Therapeutics, other companies in this space, although we are doing a favor, although legacy media is doing a good job here, basically articulating to their best knowledge, right? The reality of the thing is, guys, you have to expect legacy media to also play the other role when things go south, right? I want all investors here watching this channel to be aware of this, right? This is exactly what is happening with a company like Tesla, right? Tesla was not covered, right? They started being covered by legacy media because they were a revolutionary company changing the legacy auto space, going from dirty oil to clean energy electrical vehicles. And now every single crash out there for Tesla, every single issue with Tesla, whether that's supply chain, whether that's company leadership, whether that's a decision, whether that's something around the space of Tesla, it will be covered negatively by legacy media because they know they have the audience to capture the eyeballs and the clickbaits so that they can have more ads from other legacy autos and from other competitors from Tesla. But that's another topic for another day. My point here is that you have to expect legacy media to play both roles, right? Although in this article that we're looking at, they're playing the role of promoting this technology, CRISPR technologies, promoting other companies in this space, talking about the partnership with Regeneron in this case, talking about Antilia CEO interview, talking about how CRISPR is a revolutionary technology, basically aiming to reduce and to tackle diseases out there for the first time ever in human history, and that we actually have data now to cover that with not just ex vivo approach but also with in vivo approach. And although this is a great article, right, and I love the fact that they're covering it, I as an investor, I as an informed citizen, I'm also expecting CNBC to cover these companies when things go south, right? If you get negative data, if you get something wrong, if the stock price drops, right, you will see these legacy companies, guys, they will cover like there's no tomorrow, right? They'll say like, oh, huge crash in genome editing, time to pull out. Is it time to pull out in terms of your investment? Like they'll attack this space, they'll be very harsh on it, and that's because they know they have the audience for it. So I want you guys, if there's a takeaway in this video, is that although you do want legacy media to cover these companies and you want this information, this mission to be spread across all investors, not just in our communities, but also across all other verticals. And legacy media obviously have a huge audience for it. You also have to expect them to play the other role. And I, as an investor, I've seen this in other space, whether that's with Tesla, whether that's with cryptocurrencies. They always do that. That is because their incentives are not aligned with yours, right? Their incentives are not the fact that they want to keep you informed as an investor. Their incentives is to get you to read their articles, just like what we're doing here, right? And get you to click on their ads, to view their ads, so that the companies that pay their ads really increase their spending for their platforms, or whether that's on CNBC, whether that's on Bloomberg, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, doesn't matter, right? It's the same story. So I want you guys to keep that in mind as we go through this this journey in genome editing. We've had revolutionary data last week by Antilia, and then we obviously last Saturday. I'm not sure if you guys had time to watch the Caribou Biosciences IPO filing that we made, that we believe that this company will disrupt the genome editing space. They'll be joining CRISPR Therapeutics, Beam Therapeutics, Editas, and Antilia. When it comes to these big genome editing companies, we strongly believe Caribou is one of those companies that will join this space. Um, you have to do your own research ultimately, right? You cannot depend on legacy media giving you that information. And I was watching this interview, I think it was like last week, literally on Monday or Tuesday, when Antilia stock price jumped like 50% in a day. I know you had those analysts and traditional analysts on CNBC going over the stock price, and that's all they could do, right? They just basically talked about the stock price and talked about how it was up 50%. They definitely did not understand what CRISPR was. I felt like the guy that was covering that video that day, he was just reading off a script that probably an intern in CNBC wrote for them the same day, right? And there's no way they understand what genome editing is. There's no way they understand what genomics is. I think everyone understands the concepts of diseases. I think we all have the same. It's a bipartisan mentality where we want to eradicate diseases, right? We never want to inflict pain on humans, right? That's the whole, our whole nature as a human, right? We want to leverage that, and we want to eradicate diseases, eliminate world hunger. I think we can all stand behind that mission. But when it comes to studying these companies, studying the technologies that are driving these companies, there's no way you can expect these analysts that are covering stock prices to understand this tech. And that does matter, because when things go south, they'll be the first one to jump the gun. And usually the people that are informed, that are studying this space, researchers, scientists, people like us, we are going to see this and be like, held back from it and say, hey, how come these guys are just talking about stock price? There's something else going on under the hood. So that's my whole point in this video, right? Double-edged sword. Expect this in this space. Expect this. Although you want to see legacy media covering it, you also have to expect the other role being played when things go south. So hopefully you guys appreciate this video. Again, hit that like button, destroy that like button. Really helps this video, guys. If you haven't subscribed, guys, what are you waiting for? And if you have any comments, feedback, what do you guys think about legacy media covering these stories? What do you guys think? Do you want it? Do you feel like, this is a good thing for the space? Do you feel the same way I do? Leave it in the comments below, guys. We'll try to respond to every single comment out there. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a beautiful, beautiful Monday. Thank you very much. Thank you.